welcome to the Self-Made interview series. I'm Bianca Miller-Cole.
And I'm Byron Cole.
And today we will be interviewing Helen Tomes, who's Marketing Director of Nominet and the UK domain. Helen, welcome to Self-Made.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Helen, first question for you. Who are Nominet and what do you do?
Okay, well, Nominet is an internet company, most well known perhaps for being the custodian, the guardian of the .uk namespace. So we're one of the largest country code registries in the world, so with over 10 million .uk domain names. We're also committed to public benefit, and we have a trust, a charitable foundation called the Nominet Trust, and we've donated over £44 million to the trust since its inception. And all of that is being reinvested back into technology. So it's all about tech for good, and they've helped over 10 million people over the last few years. We also run a number of other top-level domains, in addition to those ending in .uk. And yeah, that keeps us busy.
Whilst we're on the topic of the trust itself, and it's helped 10 million people, what type of people is it are being helped by the trust, and what are the initiatives for that?
So a number of initiatives, and they are helping people all over the world, so it's not just necessarily in the UK. Yeah. And they are normally very startup environment type tech for good. Sure. So it's about taking an issue in society and seeing where technology can come together and help solve that issue. Sure. And then they put forward, people will come to the Nominet Trust and put forward those ideas and see whether they can get funding or a grant given to them so that they can go and actually make that business successful.
Excellent. And how does .uk come into this?
So we obviously run the .uk infrastructure. So Nominet, not only is it the registry, so when you register a domain name, we know who that person is, we have name and address details, and we do that on obviously under very strict, in a strict way, so on a first come, first served basis. Sure. But also we are running the magic, the domain name system behind that, which enables when somebody types a web address into a URL into a browser, that will enable you to actually see the website at the end of that URL. And all of that is what we do. Now, the UK domain, which you can find on theukdomain.uk, which I know is mentioned in your book, that's where we house a lot of free practical advice for primarily SMEs, but it could be, a one-person band who wants to start their business. It could be a small business that's already online and perhaps needs a little bit more help around how to grow their business, or it could be something quite specific around where their business is on that digital journey. Sure. So it really is from inception through to perhaps getting bigger. And that advice is there to support businesses and individuals in their digital journey.
Excellent. And why is it important to have, well, firstly, a domain name, I guess, and secondly, why .uk? What's so important about having a .uk domain name here in the UK?
So certainly from the research that we do, and that's what the UK domain will do independently, set up research that's independent, that backs up absolutely that consumers do trust. We know that almost 3/4 of people, consumers, will trust a .uk more than any other top-level domain, which is the bit after the dot. Right. So somebody's much more likely, for example, to click on a website ending in .uk than something else, and we know that from the research we've done. And I think there are so many small businesses starting up each and every month. It really is of paramount importance, as I know you would absolutely agree with, that they have an online identity and an online presence. Otherwise, it's very difficult for people to be able to find them. And actually, we know that people will trust a business much more with a professional in-domain email address, for example. And also, having a website helps support that reach and that trust and credibility, in addition to just being on social media and having that presence. Excellent. So I think it's very important that businesses do have the website as well as social media, and we know that .uk will add even more trust and recognition for consumers out there.
Excellent.
And how is Nominet supporting startups?
So, as I said, we've been in the business for over 20 years. We've been running the .uk domain for over 20 years, and obviously things have changed tremendously in that time scale. We have over 2,500 registrars who are in effect the resellers where people can go and not only register their domain name, but actually then support those registrars can support them in setting up their website presence, for example, giving them hosting and an email address. So we work very closely with our registrars to enable that to happen. And I guess we now have over 3 million businesses in the UK on a .uk domain name. And therefore I think we've learnt an awful lot over how things have evolved and what the most important things are nowadays for a business to start up and be successful online. So we want to give something back, and hence why the UK domain.uk is that provider of a number of easy, practical guidance, very much like your book, where people can go and perhaps download a guide that might be just, snippets that's useful to them no matter where they are in that digital journey.
So Helen, when we talk about .uk, what are we talking about here? Is it just any email address or website that ends with .uk at the end?
The ones that Nominet are responsible for and that you can find more information about on the UK domain.uk are the ones that most people would recognise and most businesses are therefore have their website address as. So .co.uk is by far probably the most well known. There's also .uk, which is relatively new. We've opened the space up more recently so that you can register now directly at .uk, just as you have done for Self-Made Book, .uk. .org.uk, primarily for not-for-profits, charities, and then we also look after .me.uk.
Okay.
Excellent. And as an entrepreneur or a startup business, what domains would you recommend for an individual to actually buy?
Dependent on what if it's a business, then I would suggest .uk or .co.uk. .uk is shorter, it's sexier, but in effect you get absolutely everything else that you get with the .co.uk in terms of the credibility, the trust, the security angles. So I would say it really is up to you and what you want and what goes best with the string or the name of the business that is actually the bit that you put before the dot.
Okay, excellent. So when we're thinking about businesses then, what suggestions would you give for an entrepreneur just starting out, thinking about their online presence? What steps should they be taking? What should they be doing first?
I think number one would very much be to understand their customers. First of all, who are they trying to target and think about what that message is. So it's starting to think about what their online brand is all about. How do they want to be perceived? And then secondly, but also very importantly, is the name. What's the name of their business? What's the name, therefore, that they want their website to be known by? And there are a number of things, number of tips that you can find on the UK domain.uk that talks people through how they might go for, how they might find the best possible website name for their business. So it's something that you want to be memorable, you want people to be able to find it very easily, and you want it to reflect quite accurately what you do and what your business is about. And I think a very good piece of advice is talk to friends, talk to colleagues, bounce those ideas off of other people and say, if I had this as my website address, as my business name, what would it mean to you? And do you think that accurately reflects what you are trying to project and what your business is all about? Then I would say absolutely get yourself online, have the social media presence, and also have a website. And we would very much say have a website ending in .uk, whether that's co.uk or .uk on its own. If you're doing business in the UK, you need to be on a .uk. And then there are a number of myths out there about getting online. It's difficult, it takes a lot of time, and it's hugely expensive, and you have to be really, really technical to do that. Absolutely not true. It's easier now than it's ever been for people to get online. You don't need to be technical. There's so much help and support out there. Very simple website building templates where As long as you have a clear picture of what are you trying to express on
Yeah.
your website, what do you want people to see and feel when they come to your website, and then make sure you've got some good imagery and just some bold words that you can say to very easily express what it is you're doing, what are you selling, or what service are you providing.
Yes.
Having those things front of mind will enable you to go online and build a website, have an online presence relatively quickly and inexpensively.
Sure.
And where can our viewers find out more information about Nominet.uk and the trust?
So we have a corporate website which is nominet.uk, and that would most definitely tell you about Nominet as the company and what we're doing and all the other great things that we're doing, as well as running the .uk registry. And if you go to theukdomain.uk, that will tell you all about what we're doing to support small businesses and individuals to get online, a whole wealth of free downloadable information that will help and support people from inception, when they first set up a business and know not very much perhaps, to people who are already online and just need a little bit more help in certain areas, like for example SEO or a social media presence. And that's where to go for that information.
So, Helen, I've bought a number of domains before, and there's a section that pops up and it talks about who is. Can you just explain to our audience a bit more about that and what it's about?
So as Nominet's the .uk registry, we obviously keep a register of people who are registering .uk domain names. The Who Is enables consumers to go to a part of that register and have visibility as to who's behind a domain name and therefore a website. So you'd be able to see who has registered that name and address. Now you can, if you're an individual, opt out of the Who Is so that your information's not displayed publicly. As a business, you're not able to opt out. However, a number of registrars, who are the resellers who are selling domain names, do offer privacy services. So if you wanted to keep a new business idea secret, for example, you could register that domain name and actually take up a privacy service. And that would again make sure that your details were not publicly facing on the Who Is.
Yeah.
So if you didn't take out that privacy service, someone would have access to your name, your address, and your phone number, I assume, the information you provided to buy that domain?
Only name and address. We do not publish telephone numbers or email addresses on the .uk Who Is. Other top-level domains are quite different. But on the UK Who Is, we would only publish normally name and address, unless, as an individual, you opt out, or you're not trading, you can opt out. Or you take up the services of a privacy service through through whoever you're buying your domain name from. A number of them do offer a privacy service, which you would normally have to pay for additionally.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. So, Helen, where can our entrepreneurs, business startups find out more information about Nominet.uk and the actual trust?
Okay, so Nominet.uk is our corporate website, which will tell you much more about Nominet as a company and all the other things that we're working on actually as emerging technology, as well as running the .uk namespace. Theukdomain.uk is the place to go if you want to find out a lot of free information and advice about setting up a business and how to get online. And our charitable foundation is nominettrust.org.uk.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Helen. We really appreciated all that
pleasure.
important information you've given us today. If you would like more information about what you need to set up your business, or more information about the book or us in general, please visit us on www.selfmadebook.uk. Thank you.
Thank you.